like to earn more money? Who wants to make enough every week to be comfortable with the cost of living? Who wouldn't like to see their wages boost from $9 an hour to $15 per hour? If you live in a big city with overpriced goods and rent, like Los Angeles, you're probably salivating at the opportunity to make more earnings. If you're from a smaller area like Elkhart, Indiana, you don't see the same challenges with inflation, but the proposition probably still sounds pretty nice, but not necessary considering the economic health of the town. When it comes to proposing minimum wage, the minimum wage changes on a national scale, places of different scopes will see rather varying results depending on their cost of living statistics and based on their adaptation to inflation. Let's look at the city of Los Angeles, California. It's a very popular area, hosting several attractions and a notable share of the United States population. With its population and geographic area where it's located, Los Angeles has a higher cost of living compared to a lot of different areas in the nation. With this comes higher expenses such as rent, bills, and groceries. Goods are often hiked up in price based on the demand and condition of the local economy. This sees Los Angeles effectively having to pay a premium based on for the items compared to what smaller areas in the country pay. On the other hand, expenses can be quite different for other parts of the United States. The city of Elkhart, Indiana is rather distinct in its local economy versus that of Los Angeles. The cost of living isn't near that of the West Coast area such as Los Angeles. A big reason is because Elkhart is not nearly as widespread and expansive as LA. Consequently, this means that big overheads like bills, rent, and cost of goods are rather cheaper in Elkhart. Putting Los Angeles and Elkhart head to head, their local economies just don't match up. LA is expensive to live in, and Elkhart's far more affordable. Let's look at the example of the price of a normal item in both cities. Take a gallon of milk, for instance. I do most of my shopping in Elkhart, so I know that milk can be purchased for around $2 to $2.50 per gallon. Greg DiPersio of Investopedia reports that in Los Angeles, the same gallon of milk could total to a rounded up $4. While this is still a relatively inexpensive item, LA could be looking at 1.5 to 2 times the price on a standard good such as this one. Given the sharp boost in prices of items in LA, it could be reasonable that the area would need to up their minimum wage to a higher amount. According to Aaron N. Colby and Marissa Franco, writers for Davis Wright Tremaine's website, on July 1st, 2020, Los Angeles boosted their minimum wage to $15 an hour for companies that have 26 employees or higher, and to $14.25 an hour for companies made up of 25 or less employees. Many places in California have been strategically increasing wages periodically to move towards what they believe is an affordable wage. Doing this, they do periodic wage increases, put those into practice to slowly creep towards that goal without moving up too much at a time and risking a major inflation problem. Now, Elkhart faces a rather different situation with its local economy. The minimum wage is lower around there, as I've learned from my own work experiences. It still follows the federal minimum wage of $7.25 an hour. This wage is less than half of that of Los Angeles' new minimum wage, but it is much more fitting based on the comparatively low cost of living in Elkhart's area. Whenever a wage change happens, even if it's just intended to keep up with inflation and the cost of living, there are going to be trade-offs. Eric Morath of the Wall Street Journal mentions that over 1 million citizens could end up unemployed from a minimum wage raise. If this raise were on a national level versus out of a local government's decision, LA could see more unemployed people than Elkhart based on their population. However, the ratio of unemployed people could be higher for Elkhart, considering Elkhart's lower cost of living being shaken up drastically by a major wage hike. Another struggle when it comes to looking at wage changes is poverty in each area. An article from The Economist reports that last year, California was one of the states with the highest poverty rates, coming in at 13% of their population. This goes to show that some areas need a wage shift more than others, but it needs to be implemented in a way that does not further harm those in poverty. Considering this information, California is in much more need of a shakeup than Elkhart would be. So, Los Angeles and Elkhart are very different places. Their economies are distinct and they stand out from each other. They face different expenses and a huge difference in their population. With each city's cost of living being so varied, there's a reason that minimum wages are so diverse in different parts of the nation. Thank you.